On Pillow Talk Live this past week, we had a few comments come up, and particularly as it relates to approaching other people and when or when not to abort certain dating conversations or situations. And I want to kind of touch on it a little bit more because it made for a fun conversation. Sidebar, if you don't tune in to our Pillow Talk Live, they go down every Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Just another time during the week where we can hang out, have some fun. It's really engaging. A lot of questions come in. Just get an opportunity to dive more in on what we talk about in the show.
And it's more community-based.
Yes.
Like you get to connect with other listeners.
Connect with other folks from the Love J's crew. It's fun. Thursday, 8 o'clock p.m. If you have not joined, make sure you do join us. Even though that Joy is on a social media hiatus, she comes to life on Pillow Talk Live. But it was interesting, one woman in particular, and hearing about the approach and men approaching women and women approaching men, like what's the balance, how do we do it? And it's always a tricky conversation. But in particular, this one woman had asked, is saying she's attracted to a trainer at the gym and was like, I don't know if I should approach. And I just made the comment, I was like, I feel like the gym is a safe space to approach if you're interested in the trainer, whether you're a man or a woman, simply because if they're a trainer, you can easily walk over and be like, I'm really trying to work on my back muscles or my chest muscles, and I noticed that you were working with a client. Would you be willing to show me a few more exercises? Oh yeah, no problem. And what they're typically gonna say, what you can do is you can sign up for a free consultation. So then you'll get a free consultation and you get the opportunity to get to know this person, and you can find out in the gym. Joy and I like activities. You like activity dates, you can kind of feel where you're at. So then you get the consultation, you can talk with them, learn a little bit about them. Oh, so you're originally from here, what made you get into fitness training? It just leads into an easy conversation that you don't have to pay for. Like super duper simple. And then, so I told her all that, and she's like, oh yeah, that definitely makes sense. But it went into the larger conversation of like when you approach or how can you approach. And I always go back and forth on this idea, because I still remember after we had our mingle event, one woman in attendance came up to me and said, like, how do I approach a man? And like I was just so confused by the statement, because it's like, damn, like we really at that point where it's like, how do I approach?
Yeah, like men aren't even approaching.
Yeah, not even approaching if we're serious. But I just think it's all a vibe.
It's circumstantial.
It is very much circumstantial.
A trainer at the gym, like that's their place of business. They can't approach you. Like it would be weird if somebody who worked somewhere was like, hey, what are you doing after this? So like in that regard, like you would need to approach them because you're the person with more freedom. But if you're, both out at a bar, I don't see the need for a woman to have to approach a man. But again, I'm not against it, because we were just talking about how I told you that I was feeling you, but you already, I think, told me.
I had already
opened the door.
Correct.
And then I took that, like you said it wasn't mentioned, and then I was like, yo, I'm starting to have feelings.
Yeah, I completely think it is circumstantial, and I don't necessarily think it's always men have to approach women and women have to approach men. As particular, like in Los Angeles, it's a whole different animal. But I just think we put too much pressure on the approach instead of just like putting ourselves out there and starting a conversation.
I will say this. And the thing is, you don't know who you're dealing with until you're dealing with it. Men who are like, well, women can approach me, I don't really find that to be all that awesome.
I'm with that.
It's like, okay, well,
you gotta be open to both.
Yeah. So, but if it's a man who has enough courage to approach a woman, but he maybe just didn't notice or didn't see, didn't catch eyes, whatever, and you notice him and you want to approach him, cool. But if he's like, if he doesn't have enough courage and you guys are catching eyes and you're like, okay, well, I'm just gonna I don't know. I'm just not attracted to that. Because I want to know you're gonna come get what you want. But I am attracted to ambition. But then when you shoot your shot, you need to shoot your shot respectfully. So Correct. It is like, there are a lot of steps involved, but like I want to know that you're confident. I want to know that you got a good swagger to you. I want to know that you know how to approach a woman respectfully. Like I can't see that if I do the work, because I know what I can do. I'm not scared to approach a man. I think most women aren't afraid to approach men. It's more so, okay, what's he gonna do? Like what kind of, it's a good way for us to see what you're made of.
Okay.
It just is. And again, and maybe that is old school. Maybe that's, you know, a tradition that just stuck in my, you know, super liberal heart. But I need to know that you got this.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good weeding out process. If you don't have enough courage to approach me, I'm not interested.
And this is why I blame social media, because we've lost the conversational skills. But to the fellas, like a few easy tricks. I just want to speak. I want to speak to the men, and I want you to speak to the ladies. But like to the men, if we're out here and we're interested in a particular woman, and if she's in a group of women, the best way, in my opinion, the best way to approach it is in a respectful, casual manner. And I think where we struggle is if we're at a club somewhere and all the women are dancing and then you just try to like insert yourself dancing, I always think that is a fail.
I thought that's where you were going with this. No, I was like, nope, that's never a good situation.
That's always a fail of a situation. For me, it's like, okay, here's this group of women I know they're together. I'm gonna find them where they're either at the bar or where they're seated together, and then you can casually come over and introduce yourself. Oh, how you guys ladies doing? I just want to come over and introduce myself.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. There's three. You have to introduce yourself to however many women. Let's say there's 3 of them for this conversation. Introduce yourself to these 3 women, and then at this point we start having a conversation, getting know a little more, generalized questions, and then the one you're interested in. Once you get the answer that you can then target the conversation towards one person, you then move in that direction.
That is hella smart. Yes.
So it's like, oh, where are you guys from? Oh, I grew up from LA. Oh, I'm from Boston. I'm from New York. Oh, you mentioned you're from New York. What brought you out here? And if the New York one was the one that you're interested in, now I'm tailoring the conversation to the New York.
But don't be too eager to get to like, and by the way, this is who I'm interested in. Like because here's the thing, if you butter up the friends, the hostility will die down. But if you come over there trying to be slick, like, okay, I'm gonna introduce myself, but then like, you gotta put some work in.
Yes,
when you're dealing with a pack, you gotta put some work in. Well, you gotta get the friends guard down, because all of our guards are up. We're gonna protect our girl. She's gonna be eyeing like, I'm not, like, can you get me away from this dude? Like, and the thing is, they might be eyeing each other, even if you're all talking to them, but then you know, like, that's not for you. So, I don't want to downplay how nerve-wracking it could be to approach a woman, especially when she's with friends. I'm not downplaying that. I'm just saying that I don't really have an interest in somebody who's not willing to do it.
I feel that. So that's one way is you got to tailor the conversation to a group, but then hold on to the nuggets that you know you can tailor to the one who you're interested in.
Right.
And then that allows you to lock in. And then we have to realize that, you know, if we go and shoot our shot and they're not interested, just gotta abort.
Right.
Like we shot our shot, it didn't happen, and then we move on.
Yes.
Like it is okay from there. Another thing that I would recommend or suggest, if you're in earshot, is to ear hustle in a smart way and then interrupt in a respectful way. So for example, if you're out here talking about, let's say we're talking about the Childish Gambino video that just came out. So we're talking about It Feels Like Summer, and you hear it, and they say something, and you say, oh, you know what's interesting? I also was watching that video, and I thought about this. Did you guys catch that as well? And it was like, oh, no, I didn't. Oh, yeah, boom. By the way, I'm Justin. Oh, I'm so-and-so.
See, this is why you aren't single.
What brings you here?
They're not doing this. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So what brings you here? So we got the group introduction.
Right.
Once we get the group introduction, if you're too afraid to do the group introduction, because that just forces you just to walk on stage. Like, you just have to walk on stage. If you have stage fright, that might struggle for you. But if you do have stage fright, can you get in a place where you can ear hustle? And if you can ear hustle to the point where you can jump in and contribute something positively to the conversation, not just talking, but contributing something positively to the situation, you then allow for a natural conversation to flow. We then move into the point of saying, oh, I'm Justin. Oh, and you are, and now we can go back to just like we had the regular conversation in the group setting. You then move in that direction, and then once you get the cue, you tailor it to the specific point, and you then have a conversation there.
Right.
Those are my just 2 off the top quick recommendations for the fellas.
I feel like that could work with men too, but it's not as necessary. I feel like for a man, you could walk up and just be like, hey, I'm so and so. I saw you. I wanted to introduce myself. Like that, and that would be a good way to leave the ball in their court again. Like, hey, I'm letting you know that I've seen you. I am interested. What you gonna do about it?
But it can't just be the thing is, like, it can't just be the conversation. I saw you. I just wanted to introduce myself. Because that's just awkward.
Well, but then you lead in with like, you know, who you're here with, like where are you from, like, you know, I'm from blah blah blah. You have a conversation.
Okay, so,
like,
so you're saying if you're seated by yourself.
If who, the man?
If the woman. So are you speaking from a woman's perspective?
I'm saying a woman approaching a man, not a man approaching a woman.
Oh, gotcha.
Because we could get away with that. Like,
okay.
Like, you know,
I was still on the man train. I was like, I don't think I'm following.
The situation requires way less finesse because men are like, oh, okay.
Okay,
like,
so you're saying if you're a woman approaching a man.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can be completely bold and most men would appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
because then we can put our courage to the side.
Exactly.
Or our lack thereof.
Exactly. So and again, that's why I want to say circumstantial, because if the person doesn't, like, let's say I saw you from across the room and I you know, you didn't see me or whatever, I still probably would say, I don't know if I would, but let's just say, for the sake of this argument, that I was like, you know what, I'm digging this dude over there and I want to say what's up. You can do that. I think that's okay. But if you're both catching eyes and you're not coming,
it's awkward.
I'm not attracted to that, but I'm okay. I get that some women might be like, you know what, I'm gonna help this dude out a little bit. Like, I think that's okay too. But again, in order to do that, all you have to do is go say hello and see what he does. Now from there, he doesn't know what to do, abort. Like, honestly, abort.
He might be nervous. See, my thing is though, where I've seen the struggles come, and I've listened to these conversations, is we don't have the follow-up questions ready. We're not listening with intent, and that's really where it gets us in trouble.
You're like person.
You're like, oh, you're sitting there, and this, I know this is a strength.
I don't know, that did happen to me with Running Candyman. I did not know
you didn't know what to say. So
I had like a system overload.
You don't have the follow-up.
Fair.
When you don't have the follow-up questions, you then create the awkward silence. You then create the awkward energy, and then what could have been something turns into nothing because we don't have the follow-ups. And I know that this is a strength of mine. I get to the point where I can listen enough and then find that one point and sprint down a path. But if we struggle with that, like for example, if a woman comes up to a man and says, I saw you over here, I just wanted to come over and introduce myself. Oh, hey, nice to meet you. I need you to have the follow-up question.
The woman.
The woman has to have the follow-up question.
I'm saying she could say, you know, where are you from? Or like, you know, what
brings you here?
Yeah, what
okay,
brings you here? Like, and then from there, if the conversation, if he's like, oh, I came with friends, and that's it, then it's like, all right, well, like, it was good to meet you. And if that way he needs to say something.
Yeah, we struggle with the follow-up questions, and that's what I've noticed. It's like, okay, I approach, but then what do I say? And it's like we got to go back to the days of when we just talk to people.
Yeah.
Like, you remember back in the 5th grade and the 6th grade when text messaging didn't exist and all you could do was call? Like, I was on the phone. I was a phone call finesser. Maybe this is why I was able to do what I do.
We were just talking about
We were talking about I was a phone call finesser.
I refuse to believe that 5th grade you was on the phone finessing.
Ask my mom.
Your mom?
Ask my mom. She knew the phone bills. Like she knew when every outbound call and incoming call was coming in. I was finessing in the 5th grade. I was 11 with the finesse. But I was working on my conversational skills in the 5th grade. 6th grade.
I would talk to my girlfriends, but you didn't
have text messages. Like, think about it. We didn't have text messages. We didn't have, like, if you wanted to have a conversation with a young woman, at this time she was a girl and I was a boy, but I picked up the phone. Like, I called. Like, yeah, you had the chat rooms.
Those were the days.
Sometimes you could be on the chat rooms, but if you were interested in somebody, you called.
Yeah, where you talk for hours. And
that's what you do.
Yeah.
And so I bring this all back to the point again to all the fellows who come out here and say, like, texting, like, I'm all about texting. It's like, yo, we got to get, it's messing up everything we're doing. We're becoming so reliant on not having to be fully present at any moment.
Right.
Like with texting, with social, someone can text me right now. I then have the option to look at it and then put it back down and get to it when I want to get to it. But when you're on the phone, there's no escaping. Like, once we've answered the phone and we're in conversation, there's nothing that I can do that cannot make me present in this moment. And if I'm not present, the person on the other line knows that I'm not present.
Yeah.
And then they can catch the feeling like, okay, this is
like, okay.
Yeah, like, that's what's happening. So if you find yourself, fellas, and even ladies too, like, if you find yourself in these positions where you're like, I don't really know what to say, because maybe you're not talking enough. Maybe you're spending too much time having shorthanded conversations, and we've lost the conversational approach to just pick up the phone and talk. I was a phone talker in the 5th grade. Yeah. I can confidently say that.
We get it. You're a communicator.
I am a professional communicator.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I literally
And you do well communicating within our relationship too.
Yeah, but it's just like, you know, when I see the struggles, I just go back to, it's like, we just got to get to that point where we can have conversations. Like, it's okay to have conversations. I do better approaching to have a conversation than I do approaching to dance. Like, I always thought that was more awkward.
Approaching to dance now is like, because we are on a generational level, we don't have dances that aren't bumping and grinding. Like, there's no way to respectfully dance with somebody you just met. There just isn't. We don't know how to do that.
Well, that's why I do the old man dance. That's why Jay always said you doing the old man dances.
And you guys do a two-step? Like, that's...
Yeah, no.
Like, that's not what's happening. So it's like, and then that really does turn into like a prerequisite for sex. Like, it's like, oh, okay, well, now that your booty's been all on my penis, I guess that part of me is activated now, so I would like to have sex with you. Not that you didn't want to before, but it triggers something different. So I do agree that approaching to have a conversation is much better. And I think that you hit on something when you were saying that you need to be present. And I think that that's what's missing from a lot of things, but especially people approaching people. You need to be present, and it needs to be, I am interested in this person. Not like the idea of, and I'm not trying to romanticize it, but like, make your intentions clear and be confident about them. And I know that's easier said than done, but you know,
we just gotta get back. We gotta get back to the finesse. We gotta finesse and have our conversational skills up and have our active listening skills up. And if you're out here struggling, if all the fellas out there, if you're struggling, ladies too, I'm here. I'm a resource.
But I want to say this: when you're approaching people, because I think this is where people mess up, because they are nervous, even women. You need to remain calm. That's where the swagger comes from. You need to remain calm, because I just thought of like a woman approaching me and being like, "Hi, I'm so and so." Like, "Oh, so what are you?"
I've never got that.
You can't do too much.
I've never got that.
Yeah, like you need to remain calm. It's like, hi, like, you know, just approach people as people, and you should be fine.